fisherman's house. More fish, more often.
Hello and welcome to the Fisherman's Post podcast series. This episode is titled, well, it's our end of year special, holiday special, and this is where we visit with some sponsors, some captain's guides that were guests on the podcast this year, touch base with them, ask them a couple of questions, give you some fishing content, and then we say thank you guys, thank everyone for another successful year of the podcast. My name is Gary Hurley, and I'm your host, Gary Hurley of Fisherman's Post. We've been serving the fishing community since 2003, bringing you fishing reports, fishing tournaments, fishing schools, membership content, and now here with our latest and greatest effort, that Fisherman's Post podcast series, where we reach out to our captain and guide friends and try to get them to help us catch more fish more often via their insights. I'm joined with this end of year special by podcast co-host David Harden of Harden Creative Media.
Hello, Gary.
David, here we are.
Ho, ho, ho.
That's right. It is the season, man.
'Tis the season.
I'm feeling it. I've been doing some holiday activities that get me in mood.
It definitely feels like holidays outside.
We have our Christmas tree up.
That's good.
We did flotilla. We took the boat out not to be in flotilla, but we watched flotilla
From the water.
from the water.
Very nice.
And we did something else. And we've already been to a couple of Christmas parties.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
That's great. Well, before we get started, let's thank our sponsors quickly. Marine Warehouse Center. Some good folks from Marine Warehouse Center and the Port City Signs and Graphics, Sabrina and the team. We appreciate their sponsorship throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in, as I do, and say, hey, Marine Warehouse Center, like I'm bringing my boat soon, and I've got my punch list of things that sort of need some attention, some love, or some fixing. And that's what I'm trying to brand to you guys, man. If you want to keep that boat top notch, man, they're on it with service. But then, of course, they've got sales and parts. And I continue to use Sabrina. Even now what I'm using in Sabrina and the Port City sign crew for is we're doing displays for the boat shows we're going to be doing this season, as well as our fishing schools. So,
Nice. They do good stuff.
man, they do. I'm fans. I think everyone knows that, man. Fans of both, and we very much appreciate them. And we're going to be joined by Emmett. I don't think we're getting Sabrina this time, but we're going to be joined by Emmett later in the day.
That's right. Well, before we get rolling, let's talk about what else you can get with the Fisherman's Post.
Yeah, man. So if you are a fan of the podcast and you just want more podcasts or you just want to support our efforts, then you can become a premium content member. You get early podcast release 1 week before they're made public. You get bonus content features not ever released publicly, so only for our members. And then you also get our weekly video, audio fishing reports. They're actually bi-weekly in the wintertime, but we reach out to 10 to 11, our Captain Guide friends up and down the coast to get a weekly, or in this case, bi-weekly fishing report. All by being a podcast member, a premium content member.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. And what else we got here? All right. So normally, David, I come to you and say, hey, you were listening to this captain. What's your best takeaway, day's best takeaway?
Right.
But, I want you to be reflective.
Oh.
I want you to think back on the year. That's part of what we're doing here is thinking back on the year. And I want you to think, because I don't know what substantive conversations
If you want me to think, that's
truly going to
a,
happen.
That's a tall order.
Well, I want you to think about 2 or 3 of your favorite pieces of fishing advice sitting in that chair listening to these guys talk.
All right.
Deal?
Yes.
And I'm going to do the same.
Oh, very good.
I'm going to do the same. And here we go, man. We're just going to laundry list some captains in. We're going to bring a bunch in. And here we are. Captain Joe Tunstall, Carolina Traditions Guide Co., the original Carolina Traditions Guide Co. Joe, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much for being a guest this year.
Man, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to getting those texts and calls every year. Look forward to the Fisherman's Post Fishing School. And I look forward to every fishing report, man. I really appreciate it. Great way to end the season here in the year with you guys doing this little mini podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Always look forward to touching base with you, man. Always look forward to talking with you. And again, I got some questions. So we're going to try to have a little bit of fishing content here, but we would definitely want to be casual. So my question number 1 to you, Joe Tunstall, what was your favorite piece of tackle that you started using, or your favorite piece of tackle from 2025?
I got to give it to my buddy with Game On Lures. Those were my favorite this year. I started using them last year or year before last, but really got into them last year. And this year, His top water plug, definitely one of my favorites. It holds up to. I've got them. You can't even tell what color they are. They don't come apart like the spooks and stuff for those big bluefish. I've caught bonito. I've caught Spanish. I've caught albacore. I've caught everything on them. They're a great top water plug. They're a little aggressive for the backwater, but they do work. And then his epoxy jigs work great. And I got to give honorable mention again. I've been using them since they prototyped them, but that's the Hoagie surface eraser. We had some phenomenal false albacore fishing on the 3/4 ounce Hoagie surface eraser. The eats that you get on those from albacore are phenomenal. You can work the water column with them because they sink. Redfish, speckled trout, bonito, Spanish mackerel. Keep away from them blues because they're kind of expensive, but they will chew them up. But they hold up great. They work great. Shove the rod tip in the water and just start ripping that thing, and you'll be impressed with the eats you get.
Man, why was I trying to disclaim substantive content? Man, we're already off to a great start, Dave.
Another quality start.
All right, question number 2. What's something new you learned in 2025, either about fish in general or a specific species of fish? Man, I know you to be a reflective and paying attention. What's some insight you gleaned in 2025?
Well, I think you should always challenge yourself in life and also in your career. And I think that's one reason that I've been doing what I've been doing. I like to challenge myself. I don't get bored when I'm doing fishing because it doesn't matter how much you know. You still don't know it all, and you still have to dig deep sometimes to pull it out. And so for me, I broke into something this year that I was wanting to get into about 6 or 7 years now, and I just did it. I kind of put some time in over the last couple of years, and I started hitting some of those 60 to 100-foot spots, some of those wrecks, rocks, ledges, and I got out there and got on barracuda, throwing top water plugs, subsurface plugs, and good old barracuda tubes tied up by Justin Ragsdale. But they're easy to make. But I got to throwing them out there and had some really, really awesome charters. I haven't in years, but I certainly will from here on out defend the barracuda, and I'm gonna keep adding that and building upon it. But the light tackle, as it were, sight casting barracuda action was the best for me. I learned a lot about barracuda. I learned how much the right client enjoys that. And I learned even for myself how much fun it's going to be. So I'm going to build on my nearshore game moving forward. We're repowering my Seahawk. We're putting a brand new 175 Suzuki on there. And so I'm looking forward to breaking that in this winter and getting back on it in the spring and early summer when those barracudas start showing up on that structured bottom, and capitalizing on that some more.
All right, man. Again, another great question. So I'll move right on. Great answer. I'll move right on to number 3. And, this is, another chance for some self-promotion, man. If you were to suggest just one of the things you do, and I know you to be a dynamic guide, but if I were to, pigeonhole you to say, hey, man, to my crowd, to the podcast crowd, what's the one trip that you would tell them to book you for? What's the one trip you would recommend with Joe Tunstall, Carolina Traditions?
Well, I got a lot of things under my quiver. I still consider Chris Kimmery to be the master of that, and Joe Schute's pretty good at it too. But, I love to sight fish some red drum, and I've been known to catch speckled trout in dirty mason jars. But I'm gonna go with false albacore. Cape Lookout has a world-class false albacore fishery, and I've been doing it for my whole life. But I've been doing it like how people think of it now with light tackle for about 18 years now. And I say that if you had to come to North Carolina or come to the coast for one fishery that you haven't done, it would be our world-class Cape Lookout false albacore fishery. It's nothing new, but with social media and all, it's really taken off. And I got to give our podcast credit because when I did that albacore session for the previous podcast, it brought these dudes in from up Long Island Sound off of Block Island. They flew in on a private airplane, and my boat was down, so I was trying to discourage them to go with somebody else, and they would not. They refused to. They booked dates until we could get the right date, and they came down here and fished with me, and they were not disappointed. The albacore was on fire, and we were catching buffalo really big, like 18 to 22-pound false albacore fly and light tackle. It was a phenomenal charter. I was just so thankful that everything come together. But if I had to pick one thing, it would be false albacore. They're catch and release. They ain't much good to eat. But if you want something that pulls and you want something that'll test your skill level, false albacore are where it's at.
All right, man. Last question. Last question would be like, the deal with the podcast. I asked 2 questions. Why should we listen to you? What you have to say about blank? And then question number 2 is my attempt at some levity or maybe even cleverness. Here's your chance, man. If you were to ask me or Dave question number 2, an attempt at levity or cleverness, what would that question be?
That really threw me off, Gary. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting some crazy off the wall something or another. All right, Gary. Well, if you had to do anything different from starting the Fisherman's Post, what would it be?
Ooh, if I had to do anything different from starting the Fisherman's Post, what would that be?
With this goes back to 45 years or however long you've been doing this.
Man, I don't know. Like, even the mistakes are learning. We try to do a tournament in Morehead City inshore, and Matt at Chasing Tails told me it wasn't going to work, that people just weren't going to fish those tournaments, and I didn't believe him. And we had like 5 boats show up, and 4 of them came from down my part of the coast. But even that was a learning curve. Man, I don't have, damn it, I do not want to disappoint, but I think I am stumped by the first one.
Then you answered my question, Gary. You learn from your mistakes and you wouldn't do it over again, and you keep on rolling for another 30 years. You answered the question.
I'm not going to roll for another 30 years. If that's the question, I don't hesitate. I'm going to hand that, I don't know how, but I'm going to hand that baton off somehow. Man, Joe, thank you for the year. Thank you for the relationship. Man, we appreciate you, and thank you for checking in. Have a good holiday. Have a good 2026.
You guys, too. We'll be seeing you on the bi-weekly fishing reports and looking forward to that fishing school coming up at the Civic Center.
Thanks, Joe. All right, here we are. Up next, Ryan Glass talked to us at the beginning of the year about bait. He had so much to talk about. We had to break it into 2 episodes. Ryan, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for checking in with us at our end of the year special.
Yeah, you're welcome, Gary. Thanks for having me. It's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed listening to some of your podcasts. Some, but it's been enjoyable. It's been new to me, and I've enjoyed it.
That might be one of the nicest things you've ever said to me, is that you've enjoyed listening to some, and with emphasis on some of our podcasts.
I had to drag it out too.
All right, Ryan, you're not a typical captain. You are a commercial fisherman that focuses mostly on bait, but I gave you basically the same questions because I know you fish as well as commercial fish. So what's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
It's actually been for the last, I would say not just this year, but the last year before that too. It's using the serrated blade more for getting a better product off my fish, depending on what fish I'm using. If it's a large scale fish, that 6-inch blade from Dexter Russell that's serrated is, it's unmatchable. For getting a better piece of fillet off your fish, but not for all fish, but for your heavy scale fish, for your inshore fish like your drums, your sheep's head, your offshore fish like your trigger fish. That fish that with a hard scale you need to get behind. You use a fillet blade, you can, but you're gonna dull your knife and you won't get it as better cut, which has been pretty, normally I wouldn't say, hey, there's one thing or the other, but that for me has been key for the last little while is seeing a better fillet with that serrated knife.
Yeah, man, I can identify exactly what you're saying. I'm filleting red drum and I just use my knife and I got to work my way through the scales, and I'm sure I'm dulling the knife. Yeah. So I have a serrated blade. I know I pull it out for triggerfish, but I don't know why I'm not pulling it out for other fish. So this podcast has already going to improve my 2026. Great answer, Simba. Hey, number 2, and I know you to be a reflective person too. What's something new in 2025 you learned about fish behavior, fish actions, either in general or species specific?
Well, on 2 separate occasions, we bucked the norm. So it was something we were supposed to be doing and everyone on the boat was doing, and one thing changed our whole trip, basically because someone decided not to fish like that, and that's the whole thing. Like it went from catching one fish to catching 15 fish in the matter of 2 hours, and they were like, we couldn't stop catching them after we found out what was in front of us, pretty much.
All right.
And that's that was it.
So you're not telling me what you did, though. You're just gonna.
Well, it's going to be your next question. Is that's
Okay.
on us. What trip was that? That was probably the best trip of the summertime, when we figured out we had a school. We were sitting on top of a school black drum. We might have been sitting on top of, I don't know, 100 fish. And I mean, we just, at some point you run out of bait, we stopped catching them. But I haven't seen that until, I mean, for like 15 years, I've never seen catching the black drum like that. We caught him one time at Sunny Point Military Terminal like that. But this has been it's been a long time since we've caught them like that. And I mean, they just did every time. I mean, literally the bite was on every 2-3 minutes. It was crazy.
All right. I'm in. So now we got answers to 2 and 3. And then what about the last one, man? At the beginning of the podcast, I tried twice to ask you something funny. I don't know if I succeeded or not. What about you, man? You got a question number 2. You got a version of question number 2 for me or Dave or both of us?
You guys, what was your trip for the summertime?
My trip for the summertime?
Yeah.
Man, my memory just doesn't work that well anymore. And let me think. I'll tell you, one of my I'm going to sort of answer the question.
Okay.
On the opening day of flounder season, I had to do some work. So I went out to our dock on Howe Creek, and I worked through a couple of shorts and got a 3-pounder. And then I only had a small window, so I was stoked. I got a 3-pounder. So that was like a great start to flounder season. I worked and came back, and my wife was actually trying to catch some fish, a flounder, but she was using cut pinfish. I gave her a white jerk shad on the jig head and said, man, this is one of my favorite soft plastics. Certainly would be better than cut pinfish, in my opinion. And at flush high tide, when you're not supposed to, man, she brought a 6 to 7 pound flounder to the dock after only 20 minutes of casting that. And it was such a celebration. And I would say that's probably my favorite fishing memory of summer 2025.
Okay, that's a nice fish. Yeah. And I put a smile on both y'all's faces.
Yeah, man. I mean, happy wife. And I hate to be cliche. I've tried my whole life not to be cliche, but damn it, it keeps catching up to me.
I know.
Well, Ryan, this is where I say thank you very much for being a guest. Thank you very much for the relationship, because our relationship goes way deeper than podcasts, man. You're one of our waymasters for our Red Drum Trail, and it doesn't even stop there, man. I can't count the number of ways you helped me out this year. Thank you very much, man. Have a good year.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Have a good one. See you, Dave.
Captain Gray Davis of Hyde Guide. Got to talk to you about Big Red Drum this fall. Enjoyed having you as a podcast guest, and welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you again. All you guys fall into this category, man. I work with you in several ways. I'm very fortunate that way. I don't take that for granted. And if you're ready, then I'm going to start giving you our end of year list of questions, just to get a little bit of end of the year talking with you. You cool?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. What is the best new tackle that you started using in 2025?
I have gone to I'll start with the terminal tackle. I mean, I've gone to fishing with Quantum, and a lot of their rods and reels, great stuff. The guys from Penn actually left and have now linked up with Quantum, and they're making some really, really good stuff. So I switched over to them. Everything, all my drum rods, the whole nine, all the way down to my perch stuff. So
what do you like about them, man?
The drags, I mean, the drags are great. It's all sealed components. It's basically, I mean, you put these reels in your hand now, and it feels like the old battles and the old, the stuff that actually kind of lasted. So it's, like I said, it's all sealed components. It's good stuff. As far as baits go, I mean, you got to go with Backwater Bandits. Got to give them a shout out. They come out with the new Buttercup Light, and man, I've actually decided that I'm gonna sell all my mirror lures because I don't need them anymore. So there's two boxes of mirrors for sale if anybody wants them.
Have you sold your Owen Lupton rigs yet?
I've never even had any. I've never even had any. The Z-Man Prawn Stars definitely was a killer. I think we caught a bunch of big drum on them this year. Unexpectedly. Cork fishing. I talked that right into existence this year. Did I not?
You did.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I called Bud one day. I said, "You're welcome." I said, all I had to say was that it sucked, and I'll always eat my words. So, and then of course, all the Coastal Brew, K Wiggler, Slicks, all the ball tail stuff. This winter's been and Deadly Dudley off the chart. Rat tails, stuff like that. I'm a big finesse trout guy, so I like those plastics.
You're a NASCAR driver, man. You got a laundry list of people you're thanking here, man. You should have been wearing the King Mackerel team shirt.
I'm not brand loyal unless it comes with rods and reels.
Well, you're out there in the Pamlico, man. Sometimes you don't have people to talk to. So I'm guessing you are thinking about fish and thinking about fish and thinking about fish. So, man, what's something you learned in 2025 about fish in general or a specific type of fish?
I got a couple things. So the ever-changing salinity. I mean, we'll go from, it's salty and dry to it's wet and fish are moving around like crazy. And just being a little more aware of that. And at what times of the year to be aware of that. The movement of fish current. I mean, everybody kind of gets that, but we don't really have a tide system here.
Yeah.
So that's forever a learning curve for me. Is still trying to figure out, movements of fish, how the current makes them move, where it makes them move, why do they want to go there. That's kind of what attracts fish to, and the way the current in the sound determines that via the wind. So, you got days of one blow from one direction, and then it switches blows to another direction. You're going to have a totally different, they're going to move from one side of the river to the other side of the river, or they're going to stay on that side of the river, or, where's the bait going to go? That's always something.
All right. I would be intrigued by salinity if I were in your part. I mean, I think rain comes into play certainly here on my part of the coast, but that salinity is a daily thing for you guys, I would say.
I mean, it's the cesspool. I mean, and it's not just rain here. I mean, it's actually not any rain here. Actually, it's all. I mean, rain here helps, but it's all stuff from Noose and the Pamlico. So
I follow.
And that whole river system. I mean, all the way to Raleigh. So you got to kind of pay attention to what's going on across the whole state to really understand what's going to go on in the river basin, I guess you could call it.
I follow. I like it, man. I like that answer. Hey, you're not going to be able to laundry list like you did with tackle, man. You're going to have to give me one trip. If you want someone to book you for one trip in 2026.
April drum.
April drum. Tell me more.
April big drum. I kind of went over it in my podcast, but I'm officially ready to start. Getting that out there. Can be a big fishery. It's not a numbers game. It's you're meat hunting and trophy fishing at the same time. Everybody might catch one, but I mean that's and you can say caught one in April. Everybody caught them in May and June, or not August and September. Nobody really ever catches them.
Bait or artificial?
There is a fishery here now for them in April, and I think it's a lot of the local fish that never leave, that just stay in the sound or just stay off the beach. So, and then when crabs, they're moving across the sound.
Bait or artificial for April big reds?
It's bait. It's all bait.
Okay.
I mean, there's days where it can be artificial, but it's artificial by accident, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
I do. Yeah, bycatch.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're throwing a swim bait up on the bank for a trout, and you run into a school of them. So
Well, I'm going to wrap it up with our last question before we say goodbye and have a happy new year and happy holidays. And I gotta say, I actually mentioned your name to Dave. I was like, man, this is one guest I'm a little nervous about asking, but hey, question number one is why should we listen to what you have to say about blank? Question number two, an attempt at levity. If you were to ask me or Dave or both of us your version of question number two, what would that be?
I was very confused about that. So kinda,
Good. I think I'd rather you be confused.
When Joe went, I mean, that was a great question, by the way. But I mean, the only thing I can say is, what do you think about the harvest report?
The what?
The harvest reporting stuff. That's
well,
how do you think it'll affect the fishing?
well, here's where politician Gary Hurley takes over. And this has been a talking point. I've said, I'm actually going to be sincere. But man, you know what? Through the years, Fisherman's Post has been criticized at different times about not taking political stands on fisheries issues or just taking stands on fisheries issues. Maybe I don't even have to mention the word politics. And whenever that happens, I tell people that is a fair criticism. As we have no agenda, but certainly we cater more to recreational anglers, and we're in a position to help affect whatever it is. And I tell people, man, from the beginning, I had no interest in that. I just wanted to get people excited about fishing. I wanted to celebrate fishing. I wanted to motivate people to go fishing, and I'm sticking to that. And it has served me since 2003. So I am going to use that answer to not answer your question about harvesting and just say, you know what? It's complicated. It's not as complicated as other issues, that's for sure. Not as controversial as others, although it's certainly unpopular or whatever. But I'm going to say, man, I don't know. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to pay attention. And I am rooting for those guys to get it all right and to improve our fisheries. And I hope it accomplishes what they think it's going to accomplish or what it's supposed to accomplish. I don't know.
You answered my question without answering my question.
Yeah, man. I told you. I said politician Gary is taking the stand.
Yep.
Maybe that's my next career. What do you think?
I would love for you to be the commish.
Hey, Gray Davis, man, have a good time there. You're part of the coast. Man, I'll tell you, my trip with you, including staying in that house on the water, man, that rental house by that dilapidated commercial harbor was awesome. And in my mind, that's where I stay every time I come and fish with you.
You will. Don't
All right,
worry.
dude.
You let me know when, and we'll get you.
April, man, I'm gonna go catch a big drum.
You want to go in April?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it. I'll get you somewhere during the full moon in April.
All right. Have a good Christmas. Have a good New Year, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for everything you do.
Well, Scott, we appreciate you coming on. Yours was certainly one of our more popular podcasts, man. People enjoyed it.
I saw that. Yeah.
I hope you got some feedback from it. I don't know. Sometimes people reach out to me. Sometimes people reach out to the guests. But I know it was popular. I'm glad we did it. I'm, glad that it, basically helped establish our relationship here in 2025. Absolutely. And so I'm going to give you the same 4 questions, man, that I've been getting everyone else. And that first one is, man, what's a piece of tackle you started using in 2025 that, is one of your favorites, or you're just glad you started using it?
Well, I'm going to show you my gun.
Deal.
This is a dart gun. It is used live baiting for marlin, okay? Huh? And it comes with these little red tabs. And the tab goes into the end of the gun like this, and you push it into the tuna that you're going to use for baiting. You squeeze the trigger and it comes loose. Well, I have adapted that for our bluefish in king mackerel tournament fishing, for our larger bluefish, because I know that some of the tournament king mackerel fishermen are going to relate to this. I can't tell you how many hooks you get in your hand when you're trying to hook a big bluefish on and he starts jumping all over the place. So this dart, it's a two-man operation, but it's actually a little bit quicker. So one guy holds the bait, I attach the system to the hook, then the dart goes in, I push the dart in the nose, pull the trigger, and now the bait's hooked up, and I hook the other two hooks and we throw it overboard. So the fish doesn't have a chance to wiggle or hook somebody because we're using big hooks. I mean, this is a 4/0 single hook. Um, these are number 2 trebles. I mean, we're using big hooks on these big baits. And you get one in your hand and the bluefish is flopping around. Well, they
Sure.
can relate and they know it hurts like hell.
Yeah.
So that's what we came up with, and man, it works great. We love
So,
it.
but I'm guessing you're not working with any pogies big enough for that. That's relegated to big blues,
Yeah,
bluefish.
that's relegated to the
Yeah.
bigger blues. Yeah.
I like that. You just told me something I didn't know existed, man. For billfish or for your adaptation to king mackerel, I dig it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, what about you, man? Are you reflective? Did you think about fish this year? Did you find some new understanding of fish in general or fish specific?
Yeah, I found out something new. King mackerel a hell of a lot smarter than I am.
It wasn't. It was kind of a tough year for king mackerel, wasn't
It was
it?
a very tough year for king mackerel fishermen. I mean, the season's ending up now. They're catching a lot of them, but tournament season was horrible. And where the kings were supposed to be, they weren't. And where they weren't supposed to be, they were. And it was a crazy year this year. So, I learned that odds still favor the fish.
Hey, in your circle, because I mean, I know you guys who do the king mackerel tournaments are pretty tight. When the fish aren't where they're supposed to be, do you guys hypothesize? Do you theorize about why, or is it just as simple as that's just how it is?
There, I guess we might have had some talk about it. It's just like, you go over to the eastern side and in September and the bait's there and the kings are supposed to be there and there's not any kings. No, nobody's really like tried to hypothesize why they're not there. It's just my generalized conversation with the people that in my network is we just don't understand it. We don't know where they went or why they weren't there.
Okay,
Just don't.
fair, man. If you could suggest one trip, what would that one trip be in 2026?
God, I could suggest one trip. Um,
How about this? If they were to go fishing with you, and I said they can't go king mackerel fishing with you, they got to do something else, what would that trip be?
I think if people are looking to have just a bend in the rod and have some fun, one of your earlier guests mentioned barracuda. We catch a lot of those live baiting. We catch amberjack. There's a lot of different species that are out there that'll eat the live bait other than the king mackerel. And we sure caught a lot of those this year besides king mackerel. So, if they were going to go with me and didn't want to catch king mackerel, we could certainly keep a bend in their rod and let them have some fun.
All right.
For sure.
A good answer. It's certainly an acceptable answer.
Yeah.
And then the last one, when we introduced you to the podcast, I said, why should we listen to what you have to say about king mackerel? And then I have no idea what my attempt was at question number 2. I can
You asked
only.
me who the king was, LeBron or Jordan. I think.
Oh,
You
okay.
asked me who
That
won
was an
more.
easy one. I gave you an
Yeah.
easy one. Jordan.
Yeah, I know,
I mean,
yeah.
hands down. So do you have a question number 2 for me and or David?
The one question I think I could think of that might be fun is in doing these things, and maybe you didn't air it, but what's like the craziest thing, something that's happened to you when while you're doing these podcasts?
Well, there's reasons we don't air what happens outside the official podcast.
Yeah, that's more of an off the air type of question.
But I don't want to completely skirt that question. I would have to say, what would I say? Who did something crazy, man? And now the shame is I can't even bring his name to mind, and that is horrible. Now I'm making myself look bad by not bringing it. But I got it. Now I have an answer. Man, I forget what captain Big Nick was paired up with when we did a podcast about Spanish, and Big Nick, is a Wrightsville Beach guy. He's such a nice guy, and I'm going to feel horrible that I didn't remember his name, and I hope he texts and calls me and makes me feel bad again. But man, those two knuckleheads in such a fun way, like that was back in the Billy days of doing the podcast, and Billy and I thought to ourselves, if we had only just pressed record as soon as they connected, we definitely would have had some gold, because I mean they were having a good time and we were having a good time, but it was knucklehead beyond, man. And so I can't even recall any specifics, but I know it was one of my biggest head shaking moments. And that's all I got for you. Maybe I'll come up with something, when
That's
I'm
fine.
later on, but there's my answer to you.
That's awesome. That's
Scott,
awesome.
man, thank you for being on the podcast this year, man. Thank you for working with the newspaper this year. Again, man, I'm 20 some years into this, and I highly value relationships, and yours is one I'm happy to have. And, yours is also one of the few I haven't fished with, and that's my fault. I didn't reach out to you this year, but that's going to be one of my New Year's resolutions is fish with Scott in 2026.
Well, we'd love to have you. Looking forward to the schools here in Morehead City. I'm sure I'll stop by and say hello and be great.
Right on, man.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. We'll get a
Thank you so
handshake in,
much.
because we don't want a digital relationship. We got to have that personal too, man.
Exactly.
So I look forward to seeing you in Morehead.
Wonderful. Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. A pleasure. And so I know that you're pushing it, like you're trying new stuff. So I'm excited to ask you the first question. And maybe you talked about it in the podcast. I don't know. But what's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
So we do inshore and offshore. So I'd have to say on the inshore side of stuff, really getting our side scan stuff dialed in on some of our new boats. Dialing in, finding these trout down the banks, finding big schools of black drum. I'd say the side scan was one of our biggest things we dialed in with this year.
Right on. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't have one, and I've only talked to a few guys that are using them, and it seems like anyone that's added it to the boat is glad they added it to the boat, and is also finding the predictable way it's going to benefit them. And also it seems like you guys find unpredictable ways that it's benefiting you. Like, well, I didn't imagine that, but that's definitely helpful too.
Yeah, just kind of leaving it on, through the day. You see different schools of fish that you didn't expect to be there, especially through the bull redfish season. We were able to pick out some big schools of reds up underneath the pogies. That helped a lot. We seen them at the jetties. You can kind of figure out what section of the jetty they were wanting to dial in on. It really helped a lot up and down the seawall for us down here, black drum fishing, trout fishing. I've had one for years, but for a couple years now, but really getting it dialed in and, taking advantage of the tool and using it more than just kind of going off my gut and going off of what we know. I think that helped us the most. It was one of the better things for us in 25.
Yeah, man, that's an easy connection for me to see. So I know you spent a lot of time on the water, both inshore and offshore. Man, what's something new you learned about fish in general or fish specific in 2025?
Kind of like some of the other guys were saying earlier, our tides are all important, but our bigger moons this year were definitely our best bites of the year. Those stronger tides, which they typically are, but noticed it a little more this year, when the tides were slower, the bite was stagnant on some days. And then when the bite was really good, you noticed that the tide was screaming at some point in that day. And then when it kind of eased off, that bite would just absolutely fire up. And I noticed that was on some of the bigger moons like it always is. But, I've seen that and, really focusing on that 90% rule. 90% of the fish are in 10% of the water.
I got you.
10% of the fish get caught, or 90% of the fish get caught by 10% of the fishermen.
I'm guessing you're sharing this insight with Trip Hooks. You're trying to help him out with his tournament pursuits, right, man?
Yeah, definitely.
He needs some help. I'm glad you're there for him, man.
He's calling me today. I had to help him all day today.
I'm not surprised, man. Those guys call me and they ask me for help. Him and Tosano. I say, you're the guy, man. Why are you asking me?
No. Gotta give you guys a hard time.
Yeah. Hey, if someone were to book, if you were to recommend one trip, and you do a lot, man, so I'm going to nail you down to one, though. You can only suggest one. What's one trip people should do with shallow-minded Jesse Vereen in 2026?
So I'm going to lay on the offshore boat with this one. I like chasing trophy fish. I like chasing giants. probably one of the most exciting things that we try to put together for some of our customers through the year is the January, February bluefin bite. We're just kind of offering that this year. We're going to get up there this year. We already had some success right here the December season. We killed a 108 incher. Um, right around 750 pounds is a good fish. But we're going to be up there all of January, and that bite gets insane up there. You catch them on top water, you catch them live baiting, you catch them trolling. And I'm a bucket list fisherman. I like to see people get their bucket list fish, and I think that'd be a good trip for somebody if they wanted to book right here in 26 to go ahead and lock it in if we got any room left.
Are you doing it exclusively out of Moorhead, or are you doing it all in home waters?
So we do it in home waters, but for trips, and trying to charter it, I like to run out of Moorhead, and we'll run all the way up to Hatteras on certain days when it's pretty. But we stay right there in Moorhead, and I try not to mess with any guys' clients that are up that way, and don't advertise any of that up there. But take my clients from home and kind of bring them up there. We got a townhouse. We kind of cater to them in that way, give them a place to stay, and get them on the water, and try to put a bucket list on for them.
Okay, man. What about the last one, man? So I asked you, why should we listen to what you have to say about Oahu? And then I asked you some dumb question. Question number 2, do you have a question number 2, or any question for me and or Dave?
Well, I was going to try to keep it funny. I know some of the guys had some serious
Please.
questions. If I had to guide both of you guys, and one of y'all had to pay double, who would be paying double at the end of the trip?
Me.
Yeah, that'd be Gary Hurley, 100%.
Gary's paying double.
Gary's paying double. Dave, I'm indebted to Dave, man. If I make a wrong move, that guy's out of here, and he's not doing the podcast anymore. So
No.
I wouldn't hesitate, man. I'd be like, I got it.
I got it. Well, good deal. Thank you guys for having me, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Again,
thing.
another new relationship, another first-time podcast guest, man. Love it. Love the relationship. And thank you very much, Jesse, man. Looking forward to next year already.
Yes, sir. All right, Gary.
Good night, man. All right. We are talking with the Emmett Stovall of Marine Warehouse Center. And if I haven't said this before, shame on me, but man, it was Emmett who reached out right after Billy and I started the podcast in the midst of COVID. And we didn't call him, and he called us and said, love what you're doing. It's resonating. I want to sponsor it. It wasn't a sales call. And man, we appreciated it. I mean, really, without that, I don't know we would have stuck it out, man. I don't know we would have really dug in and tried our best to do a good product. And so forever indebted again to Emmett Stovall and Terrell at Marine Warehouse Center. Dude, first off, I'll just say thanks for that.
Man, I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, same to you, man. Thank you. We love the trail, and we love the newspaper coming bi-weekly. We dig into every issue, and we get excited about it. And man, everything's been positive. I love the podcast, and yeah, I agree. Thank you as well from all of us at Marine Warehouse. Man, we have a lot of fun, especially I need to throw in. Did you talk to the Grand Slam guys tonight? Because we might need to rename Ground Rule Double. I'm having a little bit less expectation out of the Porter boys. I'm really going to we got a long winter, man. It's going to be cold, and I'm going to talk to Mason and my fellows over there. We really got to step it up for the trail this year. But seriously, thank you for all that y'all do. We love the paper, love the podcast, and we love the tournaments. It's great.
You know what? I love that I now have Ground Rule Double in my back pocket for the next time I talk to Mason.
You're welcome.
I love that I have that in there. I appreciate it. Man, and my questions, man, again, I'm not going to talk to you about fishing. I'm going to talk to you about what you know better than perhaps anyone else in Wilmington. And so it's some service and some sales questions. So, man, when people... Uh-oh, what happened?
He just went black.
Sorry, man.
There you go.
Don't know what happened, but I got it back.
You got it back quickly. Hey, man, when people bring you their boats in the spring, and you get a lot of boats, I've seen it firsthand. What's one of the main things that people need done or ask to have done?
Man, the one thing that we really try to hammer home, most of our customers don't get 100 hours on their boats every year, but we really want to see that boat or your boat or anyone's boat at least once a year. Let's get old oil, old gear oil, old filters. Let's get all that changed, put in fresh, put in the new plugs, new filters, new a start fresh every year. A lot of times, especially in the middle of the summer, this is what I'll hear from a customer. And I don't blame them. I get it. But they'll say, man, I didn't even put 30 hours on my boat last year. Well, for us, man, we still want to see your boat because, one of the first things we do is we start it up and we listen to it. And, getting those fresh fluids in, whether it's 100 hours or a yearly, we want to see it once a year. That's very important. Of course, we're a little bit less busy in the wintertime, and that's a great time to get that yearly service done. And, you know, it's going to help you. It's going to make your summer. So we've got that yearly service done. And then the service in the summertime, you've got the service done and you have another issue. Well, we already know you got fresh plugs, fresh filters. It helps us diagnose a problem that you may be having in the summer faster because we know that you've done your job as a boat owner to get the fresh stuff in the winter so we can move on to the next problem.
So, by the numbers, what is the main reason someone brings you their boat in the summertime? Because something needs to be fixed. What's the main culprit in the summer?
So, summertime, it's like just like anything. Summertime, when you're using the boat, and that's when most everybody uses their boats the most. That's when you're out there and you could have a random occurrence. So, let's just say something electrical goes on. Well, you got an electrical problem. We know since we serviced your boat in the wintertime, we're not looking at spark plugs or some of the stuff that we can hone in on an issue because you've done your winter service, and we can get right to diagnosing a problem, and we don't have to do that service before we start looking for other stuff. We already know, and it helps us out. It helps you out. It helps you get your boat back quicker in the summertime.
I follow, man. I follow. Hey, so now I'm going more on the sales. So you're handling this too. So if someone is watching, listening to this podcast and thinking, man, I want to buy a new boat, maybe even their first boat, man, what's just one, I know that you could give them plenty, but what's one piece of advice you give that new boat shopper?
So the new boat shopper, man, Gary, you and I are old enough, and some people are going to be on the cusp of this, but remember the Tahoe?
Yes.
So the Tahoe, man, it wasn't the fastest. It wasn't the sexiest. It wasn't it did everything, but it didn't like when you have a bunch of boxes to check. It checked them all good, but probably not any of them excellent. But that's important. You want to get a boat that does everything well, because as a new boat owner, what are you going to gravitate to? Are you absolutely positive, like I am, that I'm going to fish 100 days a year, yet 90% of my boating ends up at Masonboro or Masons on the sandbar with a cold beer in my hand? Right. So make sure you buy a boat that checks all the boxes good. Don't go out and buy a flats boat and then you end up, with 10 people in your boat every Saturday, Sunday, or every day you have off work. Get something that's well-rounded. Carolina Skiff fits that Tahoe style box excellent, but get something that checks all the boxes good, and don't narrow your boating experience into more of a type. Be able to get out there as much as you can, and that's what we want to see. We want to see you on the water.
All right, man. Same question, but this time I'm looking to buy a used boat, man. What's the piece of advice for a used boat shopper?
So the only thing so in used boats, man, what really I think is the best. Remember, you're going. So in a new boat, there's usually a few of them out there, right? But in a used boat, when you narrow down what you're looking for used, so you've got all those, like there's only one of them, right? Whether it's a brokerage, a consignment, or a buyer to buyer, a person to person boat, that boat, if it fits your needs, aggressively pursue that boat. Don't let it slip through your fingers. A good used boat's priceless. If it fits all the boxes that you're trying to achieve in your boat buying experience, really, really get after that boat.
All right, man. I know you have a couple of lines, or more than a couple of lines, but I just picked out a couple to ask you about. I'll start with Pair Custom because those are definitely sexy boats, man. So, what's something new? What was my question? What's something new that they came out with in 2025, or what's something new they're going to be doing with the 2026
All
models?
right, so we got a couple things coming up in the pair lineup, man. They are incredible boats. My favorite boats, built in North Carolina, great for our North Carolina, South Carolina customers. They man, they're just beautiful. Brian touches every boat before it leaves the factory. They're flawless. They're man. I really hope some more people will come check them out and come see us and take a ride on one. 2025, he came out with a bay boat that, man, it is amazing. Ask me about it. Come see us. Come get on one. It's one of the best riding boats, and it took us a while because we didn't ride on it very quickly or quickly enough to realize how awesome that boat is. Sorry. Um, and coming up in 2026, the 30-foot center console is coming out this year. It's going to be aggressive and big and ready to roll. So we got a 30-foot. 28 is the largest in the line right now. Brand new model this year. We'll have one of the first ones. We're super excited. Love working with Pair. They're great people, and we're hoping to get more people in those boats.
Now the same question, but talking about Carolina Skiff, which you've already mentioned in our little chat.
So Carolina Skiff, one of the great things that they did in 2025 is they came back with some boats that I really love, boats that we all grew up with. The DLX series is back, and the Kit series is back. The cool thing about the Kit series, it is a boat where you can buy the hull, the front deck, the rear deck. You can put it together yourself. You can have us put it together. Also in 2025, they came out with the E series, and that's man, they're stripped down versions. So a customer that doesn't need all the bells and whistles, man, he's ready to get in the creeks and fish. The E series is for you. They both came out in 2025, and we're really excited. We got some on the yard. Some tiller handle models are back in action. I don't know if you remember, but in COVID, some of those things went away, and they're back. We're excited to see them. 2026, you're going to see some small changes in the skiffs. Nothing too crazy. The LS series really fits that Tahoe model that I'm talking about, where you got a super stable boat. It fits a ton of people. The 19, the 21, the 23 LS, man, they're beautiful, and they can do it. They're shallow drafting boats. They got a tri-hull design, so they'll cut through the chop. They just do a great job in doing almost everything as that you would ever want to do as a boat owner. Great starter boat. They really just back to the Tahoe, man. They check all the boxes good.
Man, I keep plugging sales, service, and parts, but I rarely mention that my boat is a Sea Chaser. My boat is a Carolina Skiff product. Man, that boat has fit us so well through the years.
So let me interject. They also brought that. It's called the Sea Skiff. That rolled gunnel design is now in a liner series, so it's a little bit better self-bailing. But that exact hull is back in production, and you will attest to this. It was one of everybody's favorites.
Yeah, man. I mean, nothing but happy. Jokingly, I say the favorite feature is it's been paid for well over a decade, but there's plenty other stuff too. Like, I mean, again, I don't fish that much for my boat. I do most of my fishing with my captain and guide friends, and I'm mostly a family boat at Mason's Inlet, not Mason Borough. And man, it is a great family boat.
Absolutely.
All right. You have a shop where people can buy parts, and more parts, but the front of that shop, resembles walking into a West Marine or any other kind of like product apparel store.
Yeah,
and so
but
that's
we're better.
I was going to set you up for that. That's why I was making that reference. But man, so people might not know that. So tell them, man, they walk in, what's one or two of the cooler, quote unquote, cooler items that they would find in the Marine Warehouse shop?
So some of my favorite stuff right now, man, we've got a full lineup of toadfish. They're giving back it's mostly in South Carolina, but giving back to keep clean water, keeping oysters fresh. They've got a super lineup, everything from fishing rods to fillet knives to cutting boards, can coolers. Come check out the toadfish stuff. We've got marine bean and ocean tamer bean bags. They make great Christmas gifts. We got a ton of that in stock, ready to go. I appreciate you bringing that up, man. We we have a ton of great gift items in the store. Whether and it could go from like a fusion stereo, a GPS, all that stuff is available. Walk in the store, you're going to see it. We got T-shirts, hats, koozies, whatever you need, grills, anything you need for a boat, we've got it. And great gift items. So please come see us for your Christmas stuff.
Can I buy one of those I Heart Marine Warehouse Center hats that you're making look very good right now?
I got one
Let me
for
mention.
you. I placed one behind the counter for you, Gary.
All right, man. So then the last question is, man, you know, I get phone calls and texts from Terrell once in a while, and you get to see him all the time, man. So why don't you tell me, man, what's one of the Terrell jokes that he's told you lately?
So, why don't redfish in New Hanover County like to play basketball?
Why don't redfish in New Hanover County like to play basketball? I have a guess. David, do you have a guess?
I don't.
I do, but
Fire.
I'm not going to guess. I just want to hear the punchline.
Go ahead, throw your guess out there.
Redfish can't jump, man.
Redfish are afraid of the net.
That's better than mine. Mine wasn't funny. It was just a movie reference, man. Or a documentary reference, whatever. Hey, Emmett, man, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you connecting in with us, man. And, you know, and beyond that, everything, dude, you make me laugh. You know, you're good in so many ways, dude. Have a good holiday. Have a good New Year.
Yeah, same to y'all, man. Really thanks to everybody at Fisherman's Post and the podcast, man. Y'all kill it. We're so excited to partner up with y'all and really appreciate everything you do. Tell all the staff, happy holidays from us and everyone out there, the same thing. Come see us. We're ready to see you.
All right, man. Thanks, Emmett.
See ya.
Well, Captain Victor Trito, Carolina Charters, man. Again, another one of our new relationships, new in the newspaper, new podcast guest, my sheepshead guy, one of my sheepshead guy. Man, how you been, man? How you doing?
I've been pretty good, and thank you guys for having me on here. It's been fun building a relationship with you guys and actually getting to look at what I'm trying to do and be able to relay it to y'all to put it in the newspaper. So it's been a fun year with y'all.
Yeah, and I see you on the water here and there, man. Again,
Oh, yeah.
it's not because you're not on the water all the time. It's because I'm not on the water all the time. But it seems like when I am, I often just pass you in the ICW, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. So as far as fishing goes, man, what's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
So this year I've kind of switched gears from using live bait or crabs, and I've gone to try and DOA shrimp. And that's been like one of my best things on trout and red drum recently. I've been really fine tuning it and getting into finding and seeing what ways work with those lures.
You got a certain one you like, or at least a certain color you like?
Honestly, it's been either the clear with gold glitter or the glow in the dark ones. Those have actually worked during the daytime. It's pretty good for me.
All right, man. Well, what about fish in general, man? You're out there and you're fishing, you're paying attention. And so what's something new you learned about fish or, you know, fish specific, fish in general?
So this year I've switched gears from actually going after sheep's head mainly, and I've gone straight to redfish. And we did pretty good this year on redfish. And like I've noticed that they're very predictable.
All right.
So instead of on a high tide, I would used to try to fish the places that I knew on a low tide. Well, this year I've been fishing both sides of it. So shallow in the high tides and then backing off. Or if it was a hot day, I drop down towards the end of the dock and find that they're sitting there hiding from the sun.
So are you saying, in your opinion, are redfish more predictable than sheepshead?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, this year it's been harder this year for me to find the bigger sheep's head than it was any other year.
Okay. What about a fishing trip? I mean, maybe that's your setup. You might have just set up the answer to question number 3. So if my audience is listening, you want to, and you got this chance to reach them and say, here's the one trip you should book Victor for in 2026. What's that one trip?
So I'd say end of May, beginning of June. That's been like our best time for you can get the bigger sheep's head, but you also have the red drum to fall back on too. And it's been really fun. We did produce pretty good sheep's head this year during that small time. Other than that, I would just set a 4-hour time too.
Switching to artificial for red drum or DOA. What about sheep's head though, man? Tell me you're still a bait man.
Yes, I'm still a bait man. I want to get into the lures on that one though.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing I'm trying.
What's on your list to try? Do you have something on your list to try in 2026?
The crabs that I brought for a demonstration, those little artificial ones, I'm planning on trying to use those and bouncing them between docks and seeing if I can get a sheep's head or a black drum to bite on one of
Huh?
those.
All right.
So.
I'm on board with that. Well, man, again, you were a first time podcast guest, but you experienced the two questions like, why should we listen to what you have to say about a sheep's head? And then, my attempt at levity, question number 2. Here's your chance to ask a question number 2 or any question of me and or Dave. Man, it's your stage if you want it.
So this is going to be definitely show my age on this one compared to all the other captains. But I got two true or false questions on
Perfect.
SpongeBob. It's about Gary the snail. So
I'm gonna need David's help on this.
Man, I don't know. I
So
need
the
my
first one-
son.
I got
on
a
this.
50. We got a 50% chance.
Okay, that's true.
oh yeah, I think y'all do good. So the first one's Gary once became the king of a royal snail family.
True.
That's it. And then and then here's the funny
Wait,
one.
I'm going to pause for a second and say more and more. I am not SpongeBob because that's been around for a long time, but more and more I am seeing in commercials and in sitcoms that the name Gary is used for a very dated, out of touch, older guy in
I've
a
noticed that.
mockingly way. There is never, I can't remember the last time I saw a cool Gary.
There's no superheroes
On
named
Well,
TV.
see,
Gary.
I think it falls in the same position I'm in where I get people come up and they're like, oh, you must have an older family because of your name. So
Yeah, Victor isn't all that. I got you. That doesn't strike me as fresh name, but I'm not seeing Victor always being the butt of jokes on commercials
You
or
are right about
TVs.
that.
But anyway, that's me venting. I'll get out of your way for question number 2.
Question number 2 is Gary can tie shoelaces better than SpongeBob.
Dave,
I'm going to say false.
just
Nope,
because.
that one's true.
That was true also. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Man, appreciate you, Victor. I love that you went that direction with your 2 questions,
sir.
man. That was fun. And again, as I've been saying to everyone, though, but it's true, and it's true for you too, man. Appreciate you as well, man. Thank you for being in the newspaper. Thank you for our fishing trip. Thank you for being a podcast guest. Wish nothing but well for you over the holidays, and hope to be working with you again in 2026.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys.
All right, man. Have a good time.
Yes, sir. You too. Merry Christmas.
Captain Lee Winkleman, Top Gun, man. Again, enjoyed talking podcasts with you. Our relationship also extends to the Moorhead Fishing School and the newspaper. But that's true with so many relationships, man. Again, when I finally say goodbye to Fisherman's Post, it will be the relationships that will hurt the most to say goodbye to. But I'm happy to be talking to you tonight, man. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for clicking in with us.
Hey, thank you guys both. The dynamic duo. It's good to be back, and I'm excited to be here. And it's the holidays, so everything's good.
Everything's good. I agree, man. Everything's good. So to go to my list of questions, and you're another one of those guys that's inshore, nearshore, and offshore. So you got a wide array to pick from. So what's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
That question was when you sent me that. I was so excited because this is something that I'm just so happy to tell everyone about. In this fishing industry, there's so many things that are just so just similar to others. So many lures and rigs that are just kind of like a byproduct of another. And as much as we fish, honestly, there's nothing ever that I've used in 6-7 years that stood out, got more fish. You just basically sometimes you feel like you're out there just all about luck. This year, I'm gonna give a shout out to and we banter a lot. We have the Coxes, and he's just a great captain. Me and him were talking one day, and he said, "Lee, I got something I want you to try." And I said, "What is it?" I'm gonna show you. I got it right here to show it to you. But anyways, this new offshore lure, it's kind of basically something he just made. He made it, and he shared it with me. And I think that's the greatest thing about this industry when you have such close friends or people that want to share something that actually works. So me, typically, I'm want to say I'm negative, but I'm like, okay, what is it, Ralph? And he shows it to me. And it's, long story short, he says, pull this. One day you're going to catch a sailfish. And that was actually what he said during breakfast. I said, is this something that's totally new? He goes, well, I've been using it. I don't share it much. So he said, let's go across street EJWs. I'm going to show you how to make one. I said, really? So then when we just walked across street and he gave me all the materials. Anyways, long story short, I start pulling it. And for about 2 weeks, nothing happens. He goes, I call him up. He goes, just keep on trying. Pull it offshore one day. Bam. One of the biggest mahis we landed that year. last year, 2025. Called him up, excited. He goes, well, keep on pulling it. Anyways, this lure, it's basically it's a birdie rig with something I'm gonna show you on the back of it. It is by far the best new lure I've ever used offshore, and I've used everything. I've buy stuff left and right. At the end of the year, 2025, I landed the biggest mahi times 4 or 5. I landed a huge wahoo. I watched the wahoo come through the line. I usually run 8 lines. I watched the wahoo come through the line, past 6 or 7 lures. You run this lure all the way to the back in the shotgun, and I don't know whether it's just the fact that it's their last chance to really eat, but this rig knocked out the huge wahoo, and then 3 weeks later, we knocked out a sailfish. And I watched this sailfish come through the spread and pass everything and knock us out. So here it is. I don't mind sharing it. I hope Captain Ralph doesn't mind sharing it. Anyways, it's a birdie rig.
Okay.
That's your typical birdie. You can use any variable of a birdie. This is
Okay.
about 4 inches. It's sitting on about 6 feet of 80-pound mono.
Okay.
And at the end of it, here's the magic. It's so simple. These are just duster tails on a 5/0, 6/0 offshore hook. These dusters are made by all kinds of brands. I have one here, so y'all get a good picture of that. 6 feet of mono. And the duster I use is from Blue Water Candy.
Okay.
And what you do is you stack them. This is a blue and silver, and I'll take 2 of these and I'll just stack them right on the line, and then just tie your offshore hook right underneath it. Magical. Pull it, shotgun far back. Pull it way past the water, the chop, where it's clean, and I guarantee you will catch almost every offshore fish that exists out there. So
Not for
that's it.
sale. You got to rig it yourself.
That's the beauty of it. It's man-made. It's made by Captain Ralph Mason of Six Knock Charters. I guess I'd say he invented this, because I've never seen this until he told me about this, and we joke around all the time about it now. So I give the biggest shout out to him. So I appreciate that. And I always appreciate someone helps me try to catch more fish. So
Yeah, man. Cool answer. Cool take on the question. What about number 2? About something new you learned about fish in general or fish specific?
that's a great question as well. One thing, I learned that the migratory species, they're smart fish. I learned that. I mean, I kind of fish more offshore this year than inshore. The inshore fish, I won't say they're dumb, but they're very predictable. Red drum, black drum, they're predictable. Fresh live bait, you're gonna find a fish. Offshore fish, I learned one thing is they adapt really well, and I don't know whether it's just a sense of smartness or a sense of keen mindedness. One example would be the Atlantic bonito. In the last couple of years, in the first year, I thought it was just a fluke. If the bonito season here is very short lived, it's 30 days, 45 days, right off the reefs. In the first week, you're out there catching Atlantic bonito. They'll hit anything, jigs, steel jigs, casting jigs. You can jig from the bottom. You can, poppers, anything artificial. They're so hungry. Going into the second and third week, and the season's 4 weeks long, 5 weeks, they will not touch anything except live bait. Anything. And that's proven time and time again. I mean, if you don't have live bait in the bonito season, you're not going to catch them a week, 2 weeks into the season. That's something that's kind of amazed me, because I'm thinking, why does that happen? I think they really get to the point where they can differentiate between fake, artificial, and then what they really want, the juicy stuff. That goes well with wahoo. We had a trip about 2 months ago where I actually watched, like National Geographic, I watched a wahoo approach our boat. We were actually bottom fishing, and a wahoo came. First time I ever seen anything like this. Actually circled the boat 3-4 times. A bunch of guys were yelling, "That's a king! That's a the king." I said, "No, it's not a king. That's definitely wahoo." All the people put their eyes on it, and I started tossing. All I had was artificial. The thing would not touch anything. And wahoos, I think, are always hungry. I watched the boat, that fish circle around the boat 4 or 5 times, would not touch anything I threw at it. Poppers, jigs, whatever. So I think he wanted something live.
I'm gonna ask a follow up on the bonito. In that second and third week, man, you guys are anchored up. You're not slow trolling live baits. You're usually anchored up and just putting live baits out the back, or am I getting that wrong?
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's another great incentive about the question. During the first week, 2 weeks of bonito fishing, you can actually troll anything. You can troll what I just showed you. You can troll spoons and catch bonito. After that, it's definitely strictly just letting the boats anchor down and putting a live bait out. Yeah. So after going into the second, third week, going into the last phase of the season, definitely anchor down, live baits out the back of the boat.
All right, man. Next question. And again, you do a bit, so I'm going to hold you to one. You can only suggest one. Don't you take advantage of this stage. What's the one trip people should book you for in 2026?
Absolutely, a mahi offshore trip with Top Gun Fishing, and we've done so many of them in the last 2 years, and they are, I guess, just by reading the excitement on the customers, it's a 2-part trip. We're out there and we troll, for mahi, and that's always fun. Just having that lines hit, and then whatever else happens, we get lucky. We got lucky this year, and as we were trolling, we ran into a school sitting on top of a nice, bed of grass, and we just started casting, light tackle to them and caught 35 mahi in less than an hour and a half. Had 6 guys just going nuts, mahi flopping boats. Sometimes, usually that's something you see in the Outer Banks. When I was younger, I used to experience that. That happened this year, but we incorporate that mahi trip with bottom fishing. So we half day mahi and then half day bottom fishing. People always come home loaded. Just lots of mahi, lots of bottom fish. So that's what I'd recommend if it was my choice. For the bang for the buck, that's it.
Well, I would take David on that trip, but we established earlier that he would make me pay double, that he wouldn't hesitate to
That's right.
just stick me with the bill. So I might do that trip with someone else than my podcast co-host, David Harden.
Thanks,
Right.
Gary.
Hey, Dave.
How you doing? Gary's such a great guy.
So we're at question number 4, man. Question number 1, why should we listen to blank? Question number 2, is wide open. Here's your chance. Question number 2 for me and or Dave.
Well, I have Santa with me. You see him back there?
I do.
So I thought about this question. You guys are involved in fishing. You've done it for a career. Love you guys to death. If you were to ask Santa for a gift this year, a bucket list gift, what would be your bucket list fish for 2026 that can be a species you've already caught, but just a certain size or a grand size, or a fish you've never caught? What would you wish Santa to give you?
Do you want to go first, Dave?
Yeah, I'm definitely going for the wahoo.
Okay.
Any size, but yeah,
Is that a first catch fish, first time fish?
it's
Dave?
been a long time,
Okay.
like 8 to 10 years. But it was when we went on the trip, it was fantastic. It was a fantastic trip.
Let's go get you one.
I'm going to give 2 answers. I'm going to give outside the inlet and an inside the inlet answer.
Okay.
The outside the inlet answer is probably a number of people's bucket list. I have yet not only to pull on a bluefin, but even be on a boat when a bluefin's been hooked, let alone landed. Man, I've been a handful of times, but it's just been a search trip. And we caught some mako sharks, but we've never caught a bluefin. So outside the inlet, bluefin tuna is on my bucket list. Inside the inlet, I've been on the boat when one's caught. I've been on the boat when not several, but at least a handful have caught. But I've never been the one to set the hook and bring a triple tail to the boat.
Wow. Yeah, that's a nice fish.
That's a good
Triple
one.
tail's definitely. I think I just caught some togs last week. Some tautags.
Yeah.
I was saying similar, but they're almost as elusive as that triple tail. So hopefully, with some luck, they'll start migrating this area more. So the triple
It
tail.
would be great to cross one of those off the list. If anyone's listening to or watching this podcast, help me out. Help out your podcast host, Gary Hurley.
I'm with you on the bluefin too. I've caught every species in this area except for bluefin, so I'm with you. Maybe we can do it together
Hey, man, then we
have a
both
rec-
win.
if they have a rec season. Hopefully.
All right. Well, Captain Lee Winkleman, man, thank you for checking in with us. Thank you for joining us, man. It's been a pleasure. Ours is a couple-year relationship now. It's not a first year, man. Appreciate you. Looking forward to Moorhead Saltwater Fishing School with you, and just 2026 in general.
Well, I want to wish all you guys and the staff a Merry Christmas. You guys are wonderful. I've been blessed to have even be associated with you guys. So it's always been a blessing. You know my story. Used to drive around and read your magazines when I was, first moved here 8 years ago, saying this is such a great magazine. So anyways, I'm always excited to, be part of this program and hope to stay with you in the future. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, Dave.
Well, let me formally introduce Captain Drew Tyndall, Strike Charters. Again, joining the list of first-time podcast guests, new to the paper. Man, appreciate you, Drew, man. Thank you for this year, and thank you for clicking in tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me.
Looks like you're in a pretty cool space there. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm at the Strike Charters shop.
All right, man. That looks like a cool shop, man.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's a 20 by 30. I can keep my 19-foot spider in here, and then I have all this stuff behind the camera, rods, tackle, bunch of setup stuff. It's pretty sweet.
Well, man, you mentioned tackles, so that's my segue into question number one, which would be, what's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
Man, I'm huge on like high end, HMG, Penn, St. Croix stuff, but I fell in love with live bottom reels this year, paired up with live bottom rods paired up with Penn Battle reels, 7'2" mediums. I mean, they get the job done. You're not breaking the bank, especially me being a new guy. I'm not having to. I mean, that your stuff's going to get beat up anyways, but I mean, they get it done. I love the feel on them. My customers love them. So live bottom fishing rods, man, it's good stuff. You can get those over at Sportsman's Wholesale off of Carr Avenue in Wilmington.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, man, a local plug. I was getting ready to set you up here local and say, man, you're spending some time on the water, Cape Fear River, down the southern part of the river. And what about it, man? You've been on the water. What did you learn about fish? What did you learn about a fish? What did you learn?
And just honestly, fishing in general, I learned you got to be able to make a move. You got to be willing to make that move for your clients if you're a guide. If you're just a regular fisherman, you got to be willing to make that move for yourself, whether that's running down the river a couple miles. I mean, because you could be on a school of fish, and if they don't want to eat, they're not going to eat. So you gotta move around. You gotta make that change. You could be in some dirty water. Got to go find clean water. Find what those fish are wanting.
All right, man. Definitely a good answer, man. What is it that how do you, I mean, I know any scenario is different, but I'm just going to ask, man. So what are some of the variables that you use to say, all right, it's time to bust?
I mean, if the day's going slow, if you're seeing fish and they're not eating, I mean, that's the main thing. If you're seeing fish and they're not eating, you got to move. You got to make a move, because nothing's really going to change unless you're, right at the end of low tide and the tide's going to come back in, or vice versa, or you're, right there early morning, something could change, water temp heats up. I mean, just things like that. It's mostly just seeing fish, and if they don't want to eat, you got to move. You got to go find fish that want to eat.
It's tough, man. If you're seeing fish, it's tough too. But I hear you, man. If they're just not, then throwing at them more is probably just going to lock them down more, man. I follow.
Well, and you never know too. Like, you make a move, you might roll up on something crazy. So got to be willing to do that.
So you've already, in our brief little time here, self-described as a newer guide. But for me, that just means you're hungry. That means you're eager to deliver and build your name. And so for that name, when people are thinking about Drew Tyndall for 2026, what's one trip that you would recommend they book Strike Charters?
Summer topwater fishing. Full day.
Give me a month.
June. Mid-June.
And so that trip, man, they're going to get on your boat in mid-June and they're going to throw topwaters all day. They're not going to switch in the middle of the day. Yep. Those topwaters will produce not just early or late.
All day long.
And typical quality of fish there in mid-June. Are we talking about anywhere in the slot, over slot? What's typical in mid-June?
Anywhere in the slot, over slot, under slot, mid slot, any fish. I mean, it's just I've got them pretty dialed in. I mean, it could change next year, but I mean, if we're doing a topwater trip, it's gonna be lights out, and I know it's gonna be. So like that's one of those things too. Like, if you book a trip with me for topwater and I'm like, maybe not, we probably won't be doing that. But if it's on, it's on.
Gotcha. I follow, man. I think that's a great answer. And in my relationships with people, I'm often the one asking the questions, but now I'm giving it to you where you can ask the questions, your version of a question number two, whatever you have, if you have a question for me and or Dave.
Yep. So you guys asked me something to do. You guys thought that my business name had to do with bowling. So I got to ask you guys.
I forget the questions that I ask. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Do you guys bowl with the bumpers up or down?
Oh, down, totally.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not guaranteed to break 100. I'm pretty confident I can break 100, but I never have the bumpers up. I don't even think when our kids were little.
When they were little.
Yeah, we did it.
We did it because It takes like a half hour for the ball to get down to the pins.
Yeah,
We even
I
use the
still
ramp
I bowl with
sometimes.
the bumpers up.
You do?
No.
Okay, good. You don't admit it. If you do, don't admit it on the podcast at least.
No.
Maybe just admit it. Man, Drew, thank you very much, man. Again, I think you can tell, man, we enjoy you. We enjoy having you back to visit with us, and nothing but looking forward to 2026, man. I hope you are too.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me on and doing the podcast this year, and letting me be a part of the reports and stuff. I
man.
enjoy it a lot.
Man, I'm the lucky one, man. Thank you, Drew. Have a good holiday.
Yes, sir. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Merry Christmas. And now we welcome Captain Matt Littleton, Friendly City Fishing Charters. Matt, man, appreciate you connecting. Appreciate being part of this end of the year special show.
Oh, I love it, man. We did it a few years ago, and it was a fun time. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, and it seems like you got the right spirit. It seems like you got the holiday spirit there on your shoulder. It seems like you got the fun spirit there on your shoulder. And go ahead and tell people that's not just a Grinch. What is it?
That is an NC State Grinch. And any of y'all that fish with me or know me know that the Wolfpack are a big part of my life.
I can vouch that I'd rarely have a conversation with you where you don't somehow manipulate it to talk about NC State and diss Carolina.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's what you're supposed to do. I understand it. And what we're doing, man, I'm going to ask you some questions, man. So I'm going to jump right into it. What's the best new tackle you started using in 2025?
The best new tackle I started using in 2025? Oh, this is going to sound crazy, but Betts has made so their adjustable depth popping cork. It's the same cork they've always been using, but they've updated the cork now to where it has a pull-through cord that comes in it. And that is one of those little small terminal tackle things that makes all the difference when you're out there. Because the way that adjustable depth popping cork works, I don't know if y'all have ever live baited for speckled trout where you're using a cork and shrimp and all that. Well, if you ever have break one off and you have to tie one on with wet line, it's impossible. You've either got to tie leader and run it through it and hook it off and then run it back to the cork, or that's really the only option you got. Well, they've started selling theirs with a line or a metal cord so that you can pull the line through whenever it comes. It's game changing. Other than that, my favorite thing I fished with this year has been a slick bait.
What are you using the slick baits for? I think I know, but I'm going to ask.
Speckled trout mostly, but I got introduced to slicks last year. I know they've been around for a while, and there's been a lot of people that have been on it, but just, old habits are hard to break when you've been doing this as long as we have. And I was fishing with a buddy of mine last year, and he was throwing a slick, and we were sight fishing reds. And one thing I saw this thing do that was just unique. I'm a big gulp guy. I don't think anything outfishes gulp, no matter what it is. But we were dead sticking reds, and he was throwing the slick bait, and that slick bait with a jig head, it sat straight up in the water. So where my gulp would hit the water and just fall over, and it was laying there on the bottom, his slick was sticking up with some Procure out of it, and he was getting 8 more than I was because they could actually see what they were smelling and go right for it. And I thought that was just a neat thing. I know a lot of people love them for trout, but after seeing that happen that day, it was almost like, on a nailhead or something, a nailhead jig, the way it would sit. That was just something really neat that I saw that I thought was something unique.
Oh, I follow, man. My next question, what I've been asking everybody, is something you learned about fish, and it can be fish in general or a specific type of fish, something that you reflected on that was sort of like, all right, this year.
As far as like a fun fact about a species, or like something that I learned personally about fishing this year?
Well, I'm going to say that I gave you all these questions in advance, so you're telling me how well you read my text, but we can talk about that off air. Really, it's just sort of like fish behavior or technique, or just something maybe you can just answer something you started doing a little bit different. You kind of just answered it with the slick bait, but just didn't know. I know you to be a reflective person. I know you're thinking all the time. I just wondered if a trout, a redfish, or some other species you chased this year, you went to yourself this year like, okay, didn't know that was going to happen, but now I'll put that in the memory bank.
I think something that I really put this flounder season, we crushed it. I mean, just absolutely crushed it. And it was, everybody's got, flounder fishing is one of those weird things where everybody's got a thing, the way that they do it a little bit different. It's not like standard red fishing where everybody's got a Carolina rig or everybody's going to be throwing a top water or some sort of weighted jig. Flounder fishing is just it's the Wild West out there whenever the season opens. There's going to be people rolling inlets with bait. There's going to be people jigging on the reefs outside. There's going to be people fishing docks. And I fished with Robbie Hall a long time ago, and we were dragging mullet across the bottom. I mean, I know a lot of people, they'll fish with mullet and they'll do stuff, but the way that we were dragging mullet across the bottom really slow on an SSW cutter hook, you could just sink that hook into them whenever they got a hold of it. And something that he said to me, it didn't really register to me until this year because I kind of just got in the habit of fishing the same places I wanted to. He said, I think it would blow your mind if you went places that you catch drum at and thoroughly fish that area across the same way you would work a jig across the bottom. If you would drag these mullet across the bottom, it would blow your mind how many flounder are out there that are in places you wouldn't think to fish. You know, everybody wants to go to the edge of an oyster rock, or they want to go right to a point, or they want to go right up against a dock. But a lot of these places that I was going and I remember one day I just thought about it. We were well into our limit of flounder, and we were just going to keep fishing. Went and started doing this, and it was just unreal the number of fish we were stacking up. And so it was kind of eye-opening to me to think that although flounder do love their structure and everything, they feed on the same things that redfish do. And the same places we would gig them at when I was younger, why wouldn't they be there when they were a little bit older?
But the bite is significant different or increased with a live bait than when you're bouncing a soft plastic over that same water looking for a red drum.
Yes. It sounds weird, but you'll catch reds doing the artificial thing, but we didn't catch a lot of reds at all dragging a mullet across the bottom.
I gotcha.
I think a red likes it. I don't know. It doesn't. I think when they see their bait moving live on a rig, they like it stationary.
Well, the third question that I sent you in advance so that you could think about it and have a thoughtful reply to is, man, if you can only suggest one, what is one trip that you would tell people to book you for in 2026?
My favorite trip that I do is winter red fishing, sight fishing reds during the wintertime. Catching them on bait's fun, and catching a lot of them on bait's fun. But my favorite thing to do is get out there on the trolling motor, get on top of a cooler, or get on my tower and just move around and hunt them down and chase them. That's my favorite thing in the world to do. A real light, easy bait. Chase them down when you see the fish, cast in front of. There's nothing on earth better than whenever you feel that fish eat that bait and you can just bury that hook in his chin. That's my favorite thing on the planet.
So what are we talking about? December, January, February? What's the best window?
December through March would be that time of year. It's not going to be those juggernaut wads of schools that we see in like May and June around here, but that's when you're out there. I mean, the water is going to be crystal clear and we are eyes on the fish, sight fishing reds. That's my personal favorite way to fish. And I know anytime anybody's with me, and that's one of those days where it's not as much about how many fish can you put in the boat as you are getting out there. And I mean, like, that's fishing to me. You're getting out. It's not about, I know a lot of people like to just, what can they reel in, put in the boat, take a picture with, or how much meat can they put in the cooler. But when you're out there looking at the fish and watching their patterns and how they run, and you're physically looking at the fish doing this, that is fishing to me. And that's what I love to do. And I love to do that with other people.
Right on. I love the answer. And so this is the final question. And, you're a clever guy, so maybe you can wing it. So what I've been asking everyone is, you get on the podcast, I ask you two questions, man. Why should we listen to what you have to say about blank? And then question number 2 is my weak attempt at some levity or maybe even some cleverness. So here it is to you. You can do a question number 2 to us, or really you can ask us any question, man. So it's really just giving you the opportunity to ask me and or Dave a question, whether it's in the spirit of question number 2 or just anything that comes to mind.
Well, I'll do y'all's initial one. Who are you, and why should anybody give a what y'all have to think about?
Well, here's something that I say when people are asking me about the fishing school and they say, so you're going to teach? I'm like, oh, no. Gary Hurley is not going to teach anything. What Gary Hurley is good at is being friends with the guys that you want to listen to. And, so I would say you don't listen to me. You don't even listen to me on the podcast. You want to listen to the people I'm talking to, even though, I would say that my fishing IQ has increased when I'm doing those. Now that we're doing those weekly fishing reports, my fishing IQ has increased, and people are disappointed in me. I'm not disappointed in me that I haven't learned more when I fish with you guys, because I've done all these great trips through the years, and I should learn more. But I tell people, I'm like, man, I'm lazy brained. I get out there, I don't have to learn more because the next trip's going to be with another guide. I'm just never really doing it by myself. I'm either fortunate that way or, or dependent that way, whatever you want to look at. So you don't listen to me, but I'm working in that direction, maybe.
Okay, well, that really wasn't where I thought that was going, but I'm glad that it ended up that way. All right, now the next one for you and Dave. It's going to be a rapid fire, 3 of them, and this is what I want to hear out of you guys.
All right, I'm locked in.
Favorite fish to catch, favorite lure to throw, favorite fish to eat.
Here, you want to go first? You go first.
Sure. Okay. Wait, I got to remember what they were.
Favorite fish to catch. Don't think.
Let's just say black sea bass.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Black sea bass. Because I haven't done it. I haven't done it in a long time.
Hey, don't you clown my podcast partner for his answer.
That's right.
Gary, I might have said it out loud, but your face said it at the same time.
I did it on purpose.
It was good. It was good.
Right.
Yeah. Let's say black sea bass with a bottom rig with some squid on it.
So that counts as your favorite. I should have said favorite rig to throw instead of saying favorite lure to throw. So I guess just a bottom rig for black sea bass.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Your favorite fish to eat? Let me guess.
Yeah, let's say black sea bass.
There we go.
That was very efficient. That was a very efficient answer. And man, I was listening to him. I should have used that time to come up with something clever. But let me see. Favorite fish to catch, man. You know what? Man, I've always been partial to bottom fishing, man. I love grouper fishing. And, if I could only catch one more fish, I'm not sure that would be the one. But, man, I love grouper fishing. I love that fight. Outside of that, man, I like sight casting and cobia, back when that fishery was a little bit more accessible to me. As far as favorite rig to throw, man, I'll go to I don't even know the name of it, man, but a couple of years ago did top water for yellowfin, and we were throwing those big plugs and ripping those big plugs across the water surface out of Oregon Inlet, just like you would bonita fishing, but it's just souped up on, steroids. And it was like, I want to say scientific angler, but I probably got that wrong because I know that's a real company, but I'm not sure that's the company. I think the company sounds like that. And so now I'm doing them a disservice by even guessing. And favorite fish to eat, I would say wahoo raw, wahoo sashimi is right up there. But we are partial with kids in the house, or having kids, just a good old fashioned fish fry, man. That always works for us because it's also very social at the Hurley house.
Well, I had a man on a charter one time. I was running a split trip with Jonathan Garrett, and we took this big group of old buddies out together. And these men were probably in their 60s. And I think we had 6 on each boat. So I said something to like, man, y'all better call some people to eat all these fish. So we had, between the 2 of us, we were rolling up on having 12 reds. And I said, how you going to cook them? And this man stopped what he was doing to turn and look me dead in the face. And he said, son, there's 2 ways you can cook fish. You can fry it or you can screw it up.
It's true.
I like that answer. Hey, by the way, and you were cheated. You were cheated last time with my Harry Potter trivia when I asked a question about the actor who plays Harry Potter.
About
so
Daniel Radcliffe's Thoreau
favorite
tattoo.
colors and a tattoo.
Yeah.
How many pieces did Voldemort hope to split his soul into?
Hope to, or how much did he actually split it into?
The question I got offline said hope to.
He hoped to split his soul into 7 pieces, but he screwed up and made 8.
Damn it, he did that. Where is Scabbers found after Ron thinks he died?
Hagrid's house.
Where in the house?
In a pot.
A milk jug.
Yeah, or a milk
I'll
jug.
accept it. What is the result of drinking unicorn blood?
You'll extend your life, but you're cursed forever.
God bless, he's good, man. Look at that. He killed it.
Harry Potter.
He's back.
Well,
He's
if
back.
I'll plug it because we're here. But they actually just came out with the new Harry Potter full cast audiobooks, and that's what I'm working on right now. So that's a fun listen for anybody out there who wants something new in their headphones.
Fun in quotation marks. That's a fun listen. Hey, Matt, we'll let you go. Get back to your audiobook. Man, you can tell, man. Appreciate you. Love our interactions, man. You're one of my favorite people. And have a good holiday. Have a good 2026, man. If nothing else, looking forward to connecting with you again in person at the Moorhead Fishing School.
You say that to all the cute captains, don't you?
I do. You're all my favorites.
All right, I can't wait to see you guys. Anybody watching this, if you want to come get the best amount of knowledge you can from the best captains out there, the Morehead City Fishing School is the place to be.
I agree. I can't argue that. Thanks, Matt. Have a good day.
I'll see you guys.
All right, David, welcome back, man. You did a great job pressing buttons, man.
You know,
just
it's what I
kept 'em-
do.
You kept serving them up, man. That was a good flow. That was a good pace. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
All right.
And so now here we are. And as we end the regular podcast, we say David's best takeaway. And again, the setup before you sent me off to talk to all our guests was David's best 2 to 3 takeaways from the year, not from tonight, but from the year.
Right. So trusting my memory isn't always the greatest solution, but that's what I went on. I remember Josh Sutton, trout fisherman,
Okay.
was on a few months ago.
Yep.
And he talked about the salooner tables,
Okay.
which I thought was really fascinating and it's something I didn't know anything about at all. But looking for the major or minor times with the moon. So when the moon is overhead, it's a major, and when the moon is setting, it's minor. And the bite is supposed to increase at both those 2 times. And if you combine that with the tide movement, it's supposed to be even better. So that was something that I had never heard before, but I thought it was fascinating. So that was something that stuck with me.
So I'm gonna interrupt you before you do number 2 because I have a thought when you bring Josh Sutton up. And
Okay.
So I was thinking about this question. I was thinking, man, maybe I'll have the 2 to 3 best piece of advice, or maybe just 2 or 3 of my favorite moments from the year. And memorable wise, I liked Josh Sutton's delivery when I said, "Why should we listen to what you have to say about a speckled trout?" And I can't quote him, but I can paraphrase him. And it basically was like he paused, he thought about it, and he said, well, basically, for the last 20 years, there hasn't been a minute where I haven't tried to think about a trout and better understand a trout. And he wasn't talking in hyperbole, man. He meant for the last 20 years.
No, I believe him.
There hasn't been a minute where he hasn't thought about a speckled trout. And, I felt it. I felt his answer.
Definitely. You want another one?
I do.
Okay.
You got to give me at least 2. You
Okay,
don't have to
so-
give me 3, but you got to give me at least 2.
I got three.
Okay.
But number 2 will be Gray Davis, who was on the podcast tonight. He was talking about, during his podcast a few months ago, he was talking about fresh bait, which is something else I never even thought about. He said that you really need to catch it yourself. It can't be any older than 8 hours old. You basically, if you're fishing with redfish, you just throw it on the bottom and let it sit.
Okay, I like that too, man. Fresh bait isn't necessarily a new concept, but the level of freshness that he puts the emphasis on for those big red drum is significant, man. And so I agree with that piece. And you know what? Actually, he made my list of like favorite moments. Again, I'm not answering best takeaway, but man, I loved when we were talking to him on the podcast, and he had 2 gems that night, or maybe even 3. One was Owen Lupton rigs suck, which everyone uses for big red drum, and he's announcing that they suck, and he had his own rig, and that's great. And then he also announced pop and cork fishing for big red drum is dead. That game is over. And then, even earlier tonight, if you listen to the podcast, he said, of course, I put it out there. And what happened? This was the year of pop and cork fishing for red drum. It came back in a big way, in part because maybe he dissed it, and he had to be proved wrong. And so as far as favorite moments, man, I just got a kick out of him saying, not controversial, but some remarks that'll certainly turn ahead, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, my number 3, go with a guide if you want to catch fish.
Who gave that, or is that just you?
That was me. That's my third takeaway from this podcast experience is like, these guys really know what they're talking about.
They do.
So if you want to catch fish and you really want to learn how to catch fish, go with somebody who knows what they're doing. Save up. It's worth it. It's worth it to go with the guide.
It is like, I get to fish with these guys all the time. I'll say all the time, but I'll just say regular. And it is, man. They're great at what they do, and they love answering questions. I mean, that's why I pick these people for podcast guests. That's why I pick them to be part of the Southport Fishing School and the Moorhead Fishing School. Is they're ambassadors, man. You know, they're not going to show you every hole and every spot. You know, those inshore guys, man. But they're happy to answer questions. They want to teach. They want you to succeed. They want you to embrace fishing either with them or on your own. And, you know, I agree, man. And if you're looking to learn, then a day, a half day on the boat with those guys is eye-opening, and they'll answer as many questions as you throw at them.
And it's worth it.
And it's worth it. I think that's all I got, man. I think those are my those are all my memories, man.
All the memories.
Those are it.
That's all you got left.
The fact that both of them came from the fall speaks to my memory bank. You know, whatever happened in the spring, like I don't even retain that right now, man.
Well, two of the things I do remember are our sponsors, Marine Warehouse Center and Port City Signs and Graphics. We appreciate them sponsoring the podcast. If you are a fan of the podcast, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, man. Again, those sponsors make this podcast possible. You know, without their support, it'd be hard to get away from our wives, our family, to spend this time doing the podcast, man. So the fact that they help us bring it to you guys, I hope everyone recognizes that and supports them when you can. Marine Warehouse Center and Port City Signs. And again, you know, if you like the podcast and want to support, then think about becoming a premium content member. Or think about gifting it for someone else, man. How about that for a holiday gift?
There you go.
And then you get early podcast release. You get bonus podcast content. You get our weekly audio and video fishing reports. And I also don't mention this much, but you also get access to a More Fish library of videos, which is pulled from the annual fishing schools in February.
Nice.
So that's it, Dave. Thank you for a great year, man. Thank you for being a part. And thank you for helping me bring this to everyone, man. I enjoy it. I hope you did.
Sure thing. Have a good Christmas.
You too.